You know what? If the Star Fox team isn't going to be cleared for flight on Wii, Zoo Games will gladly be the ones to encourage barrel rolling. I mean, after all, someone has to do it. It's not like they haven't thrown bad games of every other genre onto the system already, so why not take to the skies with a bad flight game as well? I mean, when it comes to third parties on Wii, Shame was shot down a long time ago. This is Hyper Fighters for the Nintendo Wii. This game was released just a few months ago to very little fanfare, and that's for obvious reasons. I mean, I don't even think Nintendo pays attention to the Wii anymore, so a vast majority of the games still being released for the console are terrible games like this. Hyper Fighters is a budget-priced flight game for Wii owners who are so utterly depressed about the lack of a Star Fox game that they're willing to play a budget-priced Wii flight game. And I can't even begin to fathom why a game like this would be on anyone's radar. If you're watching this review to determine whether or not Hyper Fighters is worth your money, there's something seriously wrong with your radar. Cheap Wii games stop being worth your money during the freaking pre-alpha stage. Nonetheless, Hyper Fighters is a flight game kind of similar to Star Fox, only without the addictive gameplay, and the fun levels, and the good controls, and the gibberish. The Hyper Fighters puts you in a more realistic situation involving terrorists and fighter planes and bullets. I don't know, the story's only told with short clips of text, and frankly, my brain was too numb with disbelief to really care. Unfortunately, the gameplay is marginally better than the story. You're on rails, you're shooting warships, you're locking missiles, and you might be having fun if the game weren't so very mediocre in so very many ways. There are a lot of problems with this game, but one of the biggest is the on-rails camera. Now, it tries to pan and swoop in this dramatic fashion, but all it really does is ruin the gameplay. It moves the enemies often completely out of your view, which makes the bosses a real pain in particular. In fact, it's kind of not even fair because enemies can still shoot you from off-screen, although there's nothing you can do to get them back on-screen. What kind of fascist game is this? As speaking of fascism, there's also a gauge that determines the temperature of your weapon. Now, this isn't anything radical, but the problem is, the damn thing overheats every 10 seconds. So you get mobbed by enemies that the game just won't let you shoot at, whether it's because they're off the screen, or because the game just turns off your gun. Yeah, this is real fun. Now, to Hyper Fighters' credit, I do kind of dig the game's look. Now, that's not to say it's a pretty game, or even average-looking game, but the models of the planes and some of the explosion effects look surprisingly good given how bad the rest of the game is. Now, this is, again, relative, and it takes a hit on the game's environments, which are basically vast expanses of sheer nothingness. Still, the game does what it can, and I actually kind of like the look, at least in an artistic sense. The levels kind of have this surreal quality to them. They're more like impressionist smears of fog and light than your typical video game level. Or maybe not. I mean, actually, that's probably not even remotely accurate. I might just be saying that because they're blurry and nondescript. I'm probably just grasping for positives at this point. And in a game like Hyper Fighter, there aren't many positives to grasp.